researchers provided no effective care whatsoever as the men died, went blind, or insane, or experienced other severe health problems. Welcome back to Buffy's World and our video series, Illuminating the Shadows of American History. In the early 20th century, in the rural outskirts of Tuskegee, Alabama, an event unfolded that would forever leave a mark on American medical history. An event that stands as a sobering reminder of a time when the rights of individuals were overlooked in the pursuit of science. The year was 1932. The United States Public Health Service, or USPHS for short, along with the Tuskegee Institute, began a study known as the Tuskegee Syphilis Study. And in the annals of medical history, few incidents stand out as starkly as this study, which was a 40-year-long saga of deception, neglect, and a fundamental breach of medical ethics. The study involved 600 African American men. Out of these, 399 were infected with syphilis, and the rest, 201 to be exact, were healthy and were the control group. The Tuskegee Syphilis Study was a research project that observed the natural history of untreated syphilis in African American men from 1932 to 1972. The researchers did not inform the men of their diagnosis or offer them treatment. Moreover, in order to track the disease's full progression, researchers provided no effective care whatsoever as the men died, went blind, or insane, or experienced other severe health problems due to their untreated syphilis. Supposedly, the study aimed to test whether syphilis caused more cardiovascular or neurological damage and whether it affected black men differently than white men. But at its core, the study was unethical and notorious for its violation of human rights. I mean, where are the records of the white men used as comparisons? This study was originally called the Tuskegee Study of Untreated Syphilis in the Negro Male, but the participants' informed consent was never collected. Researchers told the men they were being treated for, quote, bad blood, unquote, which was a local term used to describe several ailments, including syphilis, anemia, and fatigue. In exchange for taking part in the study, the men received free medical exams, free meals, and get this, burial insurance. That's right, burial insurance. So doesn't that lead one to believe that the USPHS, the US government that is, knew that the likelihood of the participant's death was high? I mean, why else offer burial insurance? 11 years after the study began, in 1943 to be exact, penicillin started becoming the treatment of choice for syphilis, and it was widely becoming available too. But the participants in the study were never offered treatment. Instead, the men were monitored by health workers, but only given placebos, such as aspirin and mineral supplements. By 1947, some 15 years after the study began, this monitoring and placebo treatment continued, despite the fact that by then, penicillin had then become the recommended treatment for syphilis. Furthermore, USPHS researchers convinced local physicians not to treat the participants, and instead, research was done at the Tuskegee Institute. All for the good of science, right? Come on, do you really believe that? Or was this just another way to injure, or worse yet, kill off more African American men? Is anybody else questioning the ethics of the U.S. government with this ish? I mean, come on. In 1972, an Associated Press story about the study was published. As a result, the Assistant Secretary for Health and Scientific Affairs appointed an ad hoc advisory panel to review the study. The advisory panel concluded that the study was, quote, ethically unjustified, unquote. That is, the results were, quote, disproportionately meager compared with known risk to human subjects involved, unquote. So in October 1972, the panel advised stopping the study. You think? A month later, the Assistant Secretary for Health and Scientific Affairs announced the end of the study. Disproportionately meager. What the hell? Men suffered, went blind, went insane, died. After the study ended, the Tuskegee Health Benefit Program, or THBP for short, was established to provide medical care for the survivors of the study. Later, in 1973, a class action lawsuit was filed on behalf of the study participants and their families, resulting in a $10 million out-of-court settlement in 1974. In 1975, participants' wives, widows, and children were added to the THBP. In 1995, the program was expanded to include health as well as medical benefits. On May 16, 1997, President Bill Clinton issued a formal presidential apology for the study. An apology? Really? Talk about some bullshit. Now let's talk about two key figures in this study. First up, do you remember the 1997 television film Miss Evers' Boys? Well, it was based on Eunice Rivers Laurie, an African-American nurse and a key figure in the Tuskegee Syphilis Study. She is the real Miss Evers in that TV movie. Rivers started her career as a nurse at the Tuskegee Institute, where she was recruited in 1932 to assist with the Tuskegee Study, and her role was significant. As the study's coordinator, she served as a critical liaison between the subjects of the study and the doctors conducting it. Her position of trust within the community was instrumental in recruiting participants and ensuring their continued cooperation over the 40-year study period. The men in the study knew Rivers as Nurse Rivers, a friendly, compassionate figure who provided them with medical care, transportation to the clinic, and meals on exam days. To many of them, she was the face of the Tuskegee Study. However, her role has been a subject of controversy due to the ethical breaches that took place during the study. While it is unclear how much Rivers knew about the true nature of the study, it is known that even after discovery of penicillin as a cure for syphilis in the 1940s, remember 43 and then finally in 47, the men in the study were never offered the drug. Instead, they were allowed to continue suffering the severe effects of the untreated disease. After the study was publicly exposed and discontinued in 1972, Rivers defended her role in the overall conduct of the study, stating that she believed she was helping the participants. Do you believe that? Do you believe she knew nothing about the true nature of the study? I mean, how could she keep the study going, knowing that penicillin was available for the men to end their suffering, but that it was never being administered to them? What are your thoughts on this? Now, despite the controversy surrounding her involvement, Rivers' career was characterized by significant contributions to public health, and she continued working in healthcare until her retirement. Next up, let's talk about Peter Buxtun, who was a critical figure in exposing the Tuskegee Syphilis Study. He worked as a venereal disease investigator for the USPHS and had been aware of the study since 1965. Disturbed by the unethical nature of the study, Buxtun initially expressed his concerns to his superiors in 1966, but his complaints fell on deaf ears. Interesting, right? But unwilling to let the matter rest, he persisted and filed a second protest in November 1968. Still, the USPHS remained unresponsive. So guess what he did next, albeit 6 years later? Well, in 1972, Buxtun took his concerns to the press. He leaked information about the study to Gene Heller of the Associated Press. Heller's subsequent July 1972 article in the Washington Star brought the study to the public eye and triggered a national scandal, public outrage, and widespread condemnation of the study's conduct. Can you even imagine reading this article and learning what your own government had been doing to these men for 40 years? Would it make you wonder what the government could do to you? What it was doing to you? To your family? How could it not? Now, we already discussed the ad hoc committee and its finding, which led to the end of the study, but there was something else. In 1973, Congress held hearings on the Tuskegee experiments. Ah, yes, congressional hearings. Yet another waste of our taxpayer money, then as they are now. Do you agree or disagree with this belief on congressional hearings? Let us know in the comments. So, the Tuskegee study ends 40 years after it began. 40 years of pain, suffering, lies, and deceit, and over 25 years without the appropriate treatment with penicillin, all by the U.S. government. Don't forget that part. So what do you think about Buxtun's whistleblowing? Would the study have continued without him having gone to the press? By the time of the 1997 presidential apology, 28 study participants had died from syphilis. 100 more had passed away from related complications, and at least 40 spouses had been diagnosed with it, and the disease had been passed on to 19 children at their birth. And according to the Centers for Disease Control, the last study participant died in January 2004. The last widow receiving THBP benefits died in January 2009. But participants' children, 10 at the present moment, continue to receive medical and health benefits. Now, back to Buxtun, whose role in exposing the study led to that aforementioned public outrage, legal changes, and ultimately helped usher in a new era of medical ethics and patient rights in medical research. The public response to the Tuskegee Syphilis Study and Buxtun's revelations catalyzed a shift in medical ethics and patient rights, and the following consequences ensued. 1. Public outrage. The story, once it became public, caused a massive outcry. It highlighted the gross ethical misconduct in the study and the racism inherent in the way it was conducted. 2. Legal changes. The controversy led directly to significant changes in the law. The National Research Act was signed into law in 1974, which created the National Commission for the Protection of Human Subjects of Biomedical and Behavioral Research. 3. Medical ethics. The Commission later developed the Belmont Report, a key document outlining basic ethical principles and guidelines that address ethical issues in research involving human subjects. This includes principles of respect for persons, beneficence, and justice. 4. Informed consent. One of the most significant outcomes was the establishment of institutional review boards, or IRBs for short, and the requirement for informed consent for participants in human research studies. It ensured that patients have the right to be fully informed about the potential risks and benefits of a study before deciding whether to participate. And 5. Public Health Service. The Public Health Service also underwent significant changes, implementing measures to ensure ethical behavior in studies. So by exposing the Tuskegee study, Buxtun set off a chain of events that reshaped the ethical landscape of medical research, ensuring that future studies would be conducted with the full understanding, consent, and protection of their human subjects. In summary, the Tuskegee Syphilis Study was a highly unethical clinical study conducted between 1932 and 1972 by the federal government. The purpose of this study was to observe the natural history of untreated syphilis. The African American men who participated in the study were only told they were receiving free health care from the federal government of the United States, not that they had syphilis, nor that they were not being treated for it. These men were not informed about the true nature of the study, nor were they given proper treatment, even after penicillin was recognized as an effective cure for syphilis in 1947. The aftermath of Tuskegee led to stringent ethical guidelines that mandate informed consent, communication of diagnosis, and accurate reporting of test results. So today, we remember the victims of the Tuskegee Syphilis Study, a grim reminder of a past we must not repeat. Their suffering led to a sea of change in medical ethics and research protocol, but at a price far too high. Here are a few of the names of the participants: Green Adair, Cotton Adams, James Adams, Lewis Adams, Prince Albert, Ben Alexander, Joe Alexander, Marion Alexander, Jefferson Allen, and Sam Allen. A link will be provided in the video description to the full list of participants' names. Thanks so much for watching, and remember to engage with this video. Your likes, comments, and shares not only help our channel, but also play a critical role in raising awareness about these underrepresented moments in American history. So, in the comments, please share with us how this story resonated with you and any other hidden historical events you want us to uncover. And as we sign off, we urge you to continue exploring these moments with us and to shine a light on the forgotten corners of America's past. So until next time, let's keep illuminating the shadows of American history together. Bye for now.